Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which is sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an HR tech company that co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GST that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. Today, GSD is in 73 countries around the world with 184 companies in our portfolio. Today, I'd like to welcome you each to Top Global Startups, where I spotlight founders building the future. Today's conversation sits at the intersection of elite performance and artificial intelligence. Our guest, Iako Jikia, is the co-founder and CEO of Helio AI, an AI recruiting agent designed to automate and accelerate hiring globally. But what makes the story powerful is not just the technology, it's the mindset behind it. Before entering the startup world, Eiko was a professional tennis player. After a spine injury forced her to pivot careers, she brought the discipline, resilience, and performance psychology of elite sports into company building. Today, she's building human-centric AI, helping companies hire faster, smarter, and at scale, while redefining what resilient teams look like in the AI era. We're going to explore how athletic grit translates into startup execution, how AI is reshaping talent acquisition, and why resilience may be the most undervalued competitive advantage in technology today. And I'd like to welcome her to the show. Hello, how are you today?
Hey Gary, good. How are you?
I'm great. You went from playing tennis to founding an AI company. What mindset shift was hardest, and what advantage did you already have?
Um, First of all, thanks for having me here. I would love to share my experience. Yeah, that's true. I was professional tennis player, and in just one day, I fell down on my back, and I had to do surgery, so I cannot continue playing tennis. And I remember that there was kind of decision to make because either I should choose to be a tennis coach, what was like usual continue of my career, or I should use something different.
Hmm.
um, so I didn't decide to do coaching, and I just said that okay, I want to try something new. But to be honest, I was a little bit afraid because I had a feeling that all the hard work I've been putting into tennis and into sport would be disappear, and I should start from scratch. And actually, you start from scratch, but the skills, especially like soft skills you gain through the sport, it's always with you all the time, all your life. I wouldn't say that I directly jumped into sport because I started to learn business, then I went to corporate life, so I had good positions. But I think um, this kind of some purpose and some mentality that you want to compete and you want some high performing things to do, then led me just into sports. So I'm really grateful for all the skills I got in tennis.
There's innovative technologies there. By the way, I've had three full body stem cell replacements. I'm one of 31 people on the planet, and these mesenchymal stem cells from an umbilical cord, I've had about 150 million put in me now. And things like I had sciatica, I had really bad problems with my spine, and literally it was gone in one day. And
That's
these technologies, in fact, I have a book that's going on the bestseller list right now about how stem cells changed me. The thing is, I used AI to be able to find this technology, and I had stage 3 kidney disease because I took too much ibuprofen because my back hurt that bad. And by the way, I played tennis every day too. I not like you, but I had a coach, the former one of the Mexican Olympic team folks up in Wellington that would literally every day. So I had it like every day. So I would do it. Sometimes I'd have Sunday off just because I wanted to play, but I hurt my back and I got this treatment done and it profoundly impacted me. In fact, it's a big story now. So there are technologies out there, and you've done a great job of making that move. And there's a guy named John Kao that says that the skills we have are transferable, and life is an upside down pyramid. So if you're good at tennis and competing, being able to do startups and to be able to go through the grit to be able to, when you're down and bring yourself back up again and focus on the visualization and focus on the dream, right? It's critically important.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, in tennis, you're alone on the court. In startups, you're building teams. How did that transition shape your leadership style?
Yeah, actually, I would say that tennis is like individual sport. You are alone on the tennis court, but in whole your journey you are not alone, you are also part of the team. You have a coach, you have a physio, you have a psychologist, so you have manager who is planning your trips or your tournament schedule. So it's definitely not like that, but I would still mention that I think the individual sport players always have challenge to delegate, because still when you go on the courts it's just you, it's all about you. Sometimes I still feel that need for me to do everything on my own. And especially I would say that that was more advantage at the beginning, because when you are just like four co-founders, you do everything on your own, you have to take responsibility, you have to go for it, and it's perfect for the beginning. But then when you grow up, when you move into different stage and you start hiring the team, then you have to get that leadership skills, which is not coming from the sport. But I think even though I'm still struggling sometimes, my corporate background was helping a lot, because I was leading large teams. So that one helps.
The one thing is, there's really three things that we see are critically important in building a company. And I've been doing it for 40 years in Silicon Valley: operational expertise, access to capital, network, and contacts. And if you have those three in a resilient team, any company can become a unicorn. We talk about pivoting out here, but my thing is you can pivot to success if you have somebody that's open minded, that's willing to be coached. And the other thing is we forget that 99% of wealth is 1% of the population. In fact, virtually in every one of the venture funds are high net worth families. And so if you're inside of that, it's like going to Chris Everett was or Bollettieri's academy. You go down, you get streamlined, you figure out, what tournaments you should go into, what do you need to do in order to have peak performance. And we forget we don't apply the same principles we do in athletics to building startups. Most people never think about it. That's the reason 90% of the companies fail. It's amazing, actually.
Yeah,
And
I
right now,
agree.
I'm right by Stanford University. Like literally, I'm in Palo Alto right this second. And it's like going to the tennis academy. You got to go where the people are that can help you with the peak performance, because you can't have secondary players if you want to be top of the game in tennis, right? You got to play people that are better than you.
Exactly.
So, after your spinal injury, how did you mentally reframe adversity? And how does that show up in how you build companies today?
Oh, I think when you don't do something, I think it's kind of my personality that when I start something, I definitely want to do it till the end. And because of the tennis, I had feeling that something broke in the
Mhm,
middle of the way. So I still have a feeling that I wanted to do something that I couldn't finish. So it's my turn right now. And
mhm.
sometimes I feel about Helio that all the skills and all the mentality that I was grabbing all the way in my life, now it's like connecting. It's kind of connecting the dots. So I think this purpose is the most important. But even it's important for each founding members, and that's what Helio definitely has, and that's why we are at this stage right now, and hopefully we will move more forward.
Yeah, we
And
don't
I
say
also
hopefully
agree.
we don't say hopefully in Silicon Valley, right? You believe in the things. It's
We believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You gotta get this. Name of my company is GST for a reason. It's get shit done.
Okay, let's do it. Let's just do it.
And so when you look at it from your perspective, what does resilience actually mean in the startup context?
I think first of all, not giving up for no reason. I mean, you can pivot, you can change tons of things every day, every week, every month. And shit happens all the time. You have tons of pressure. I mean, you are stressed. Sometimes you are not motivated. But resilience for me means that I don't care what's happening outside of me. I will just do it. Um, that's it for me.
We're in a moment where AI is reshaping how we work. What's broken in recruiting today? By the way, my last company that I sold was a remote workforce management company. In fact, if you know the company Abby, ABBYY, David Yang, the billionaire, was my partner in that company. And we looked at it. I mean, the challenge is, how do you find the right person at the right place at the right time? The if you look at it, recruiting's broken. But from your perspective, what is broken in recruiting today that most founders underestimate?
Yeah. There are a few things that are broken, but some things are broken. So the broken thing is that hiring is like racing. They're perfect people, perfect talent, but everyone is hunting for them. So if you're slow, if you make decisions very slow, if you can't find them, if you can't source them, if you can't manage them, then just someone else hires. And this is the broken thing. The broken one is that hiring is itself very complex thing. It's fractional thing because you do some things in one platform, in another. You go to LinkedIn, you go to job platforms, and it's very fragmented. And when we saw the pain, actually, the first idea came that we on ourselves had some program. We got 3,000 resumes, and we had to read all them, and we just realized that that was unbelievable, so we decided to just do use AI for screening resumes. That was the very basic idea. But then we realized that the only screening resume is not the problem solving, right? It's only one part. So we decided to build the whole system, and then after those agentic pivoting, we started to transform our service as an agent. That means I just prompt that system what I want to do, what type of people I want to hire, what type of job I want to create, and then it's just done automatically. But I make decision as a recruiter because it's important, because that's what recruiters love, to think about human, to be human, and make human-based decisions, but avoid all the messy thing, all the manual work, all the manual struggle. So yeah, that's how we fix those broken parts.
How do we keep humanity in the hiring process when we're bringing AI in? Right, one of the things we lack in AI is empathy and compassion. And how do you ensure AI in hiring remains human centric and not dehumanizing?
Oh, yeah. That's I think that's one of the biggest things that is active in AI, I think, right now. And when we started, actually, we didn't have any idea how to do that. So all we did was that we started to give some rate icons and buttons to our customers, because we wanted to understand how close those decisions and suggestions was to recruiters. And first rate was, I mean, I don't know, very bad. It was like 45%, and we knew that why that happened. So then we started to train the model, and we started to use all the sources, all the data, because data is the gold now, really. So we get to 92% of match. And for us, that means that, yeah, we managed to keep this like very human.
Are we moving toward AI hiring humans or AI augmenting human judgment?
Um, I would say AI augmenting human judgments. It's more that than just like AI.
Where do you see, where do you see the real edge when you look at it from that perspective? What's that magic that's there?
Uh, I think it's the best thing is that when you are screening applicants, you are mostly looking at experience, resume, background, what they have done. But most of the tools or most of the hiring processes are skipping the evaluating the soft skills. So what we did there was that we started to implement gamification in the hiring process. So applicant is playing for 10 minutes. It's like jumping and running in the jungle. It's not about winning or losing. And we analyze their soft skills, and then AI is matching background and personality at the same time. So I think this is the most important edge why this is working right now.
Um, so, building these AI resilient teams in high performance sports like tennis, training is deliberate and measurable. How do you translate that into building startup teams?
Oh, first of all, I would say that the motivation, we always say motivation, motivating the team, etc., etc. But I believe in motivation. But motivation is not always there. You can be unmotivated, you can be sad, you can be, I don't know, in pain or something like that. But that's why we put higher bar about the discipline, because that's what keeps us moving forward when we are not motivated. So yeah, that's the edge.
What do you think? I've been building company. I've done 17 startups myself, right? And I look back at my journey in the beginning and the journey now. It's a lot different because I understand that network and contacts are critically important if you're going to build a $1 billion company, and having the right kind of investors. Right now, the family offices are incredibly active. Why? Because they're virtually family offices are in every one of the venture funds. Most people don't realize it, right? High net
Yeah.
worth individuals, family offices, and funds worldwide. And um, when you look at the company, what's the biggest mistake founders make when they hire their teams in the beginning? What do you think's the biggest mistake they make?
um, in my opinion, the biggest mistake is to try to hire as like team members, not founding members, very corporate backgrounded people, because they are sometimes, most of the time, not get used to the speed of what's going on in the startup. They might not be that much passionate. They might have some a little bit struggling of understanding how much impact is on them, because they are not part of like thousands of people team. That's why we prefer to hire middles, or I mean, put them in the work and then help them grow and help them feel the spirit of the startup. So they definitely should follow this like more skills and less the direct experience, because experience can be compensated outside. You can have advisors, you can have good supporters, you can get good feedbacks, but then when you need to sit and do some things day and night, you need resilience.
I was with a very famous guy here in Silicon Valley, and I said, "Well, how do you hire?" The very famous company, and he was on the original team. This was a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "What we did is we went to people that had been in the special forces, and we said, even if they're not salespeople, we found those people because they focused on getting the mission accomplished, right? And so whether it's sales, marketing, operations, whatever, but they that was their focus, and they knew how to get a
Exactly.
job done, and they knew how to work in teams. And then I worked with an Israeli company that we did an IPO of, and it was the same thing because they were used to working as teams because they were all in the military.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Even in the sales team, when we hire, we don't hire experienced sales ones. We hire
Interesting.
different people.
If you were building a company today in the AI space from scratch, what are three hires you'd prioritize?
You mean three hires, the three
Yeah,
person who
yeah,
might
yeah,
join
yeah.
the team?
What would you look at? What would you bring in? Who would you bring in first to the team?
I would bring the person who says that I don't have the certain direction. I just
Mhm.
love doing and getting things done. I can research. I can build agents. That's very
Mhm.
important. And I can badly want to be member of your team and build this together. That's all. We don't care directions. We
You
will
know,
sort it out.
so AI is accelerating um, everything, right? And the rate of change is phenomenal. There's pressure, there's competition, there's expectations. How do you think founders build psychological endurance today? It's because there's a lot of pressure. It's not like it's going to take a year for the change. It may be the model's outdated in a week. So how do we go down through and there's a lot more pressure, a lot more competition, and expectations can change literally on nearly a weekly basis, right? How do you
Mhm.
adjust for that? And how does your training as a professional tennis player help?
Yeah. For me, it totally goes to flexibility. And if like flexibility was important skill for founders like 5 years ago, now it's even more because that's all about how quickly I can change and how quickly adjust your strategy. And actually it's the same in game because you might play the perfect tennis, but you may still lose because your opponent is changing the style game to game, point to point. So it's just as soon as you finish the one point, you can have totally different game on the other point and totally different the third. So that's exactly the same in the AI era, having the startup. We know that everything is changing. We have to be on track, and especially even because of AI, it's easy to be on track. You don't have to sit and read all the articles, right?
Right.
So it's all about desire and be able to change very, very fast.
Well, I mean, the thing with the AI, I remember back in 2016, if you look in TechCrunch, I started one of the first generative AI companies. And I remember back then where I said this is going to change everything and give people superpowers. And this, I mean, I literally was one of the persons up in San Francisco and down here in Palo Alto talking about it. And I said, this is going to change everything because if you can harness, orchestrate the power of the AI agents, multi agent LLMs, into a team, you can do things that are so profound that it's going to be hard for people to catch up. And, yesterday I was at a competition, up in judging a competition in San Francisco, and the rate of change is so fast. I mean, these companies are growing so fast, it's unparalleled. That begs one other question. Georgia's a great place. I've been there. I've been to Yerevan. I've been to Tbilisi. I've been all over the place. But it's not the startup capital of the world. It's like going to Bollettieri or Everett's Academy. You got to go where the people are that can keep your game up. I'm out in Palo Alto, literally, less than a mile from Stanford right now, and the game's high here, right? The companies
Yeah.
come here because they get the big, they get the contracts, they get the talent, they have the valuations can be 10 times what they are in some places, and people get it. You know what I mean? They get it. They've been invested
Yeah.
in AI companies doing agents. They understand what an API does. They understand how these small and large language models work. But how do you go down through? Like I said, Georgia's, in fact, some of the best wine I've ever had in my existence is there. Um, but how do you take a company and really go global? It's like being a professional tennis player, right? If you didn't go to Everett or Bollettieri, how could you get on the circuit and win? Or how can you do that?
Yeah. I think the first step was that Georgia for us was the great place to start and test the service because our ICPs are also in Georgia a lot and we have a lot
Hmm.
of international brands. So then they helped us to expand in different countries. So we said that okay, let's just test the service, test the concept in our country, and as soon as it's there, as soon as we feel the market fit, let's take it outside of the country. And then what we did was that we founded our headquarters in Delaware and
Hmm.
we started to open different entities in other countries as well. It's not only Georgia. So right
Hmm.
now we are serving 7 countries, more hundreds of brands and top brands. I wouldn't mention the names, um, um, but I think that, the aspect you mentioned, where are you physically in and how you're surrounded with what type of people and what type of spirit, that's very important. And sometimes even we think how to make our environment even better. But it's also understand that as like globalization is here, we have so many technologies. We are not that dependent to expand to be physically somewhere.
Hmm.
So I think we just use that opportunity.
Yeah, it's difficult though, because I see it every
It
day.
is.
I'm,
It is, yeah.
I was in Prague with Wozniak. I was in Lagos, Nigeria a few weeks ago, Bangkok, Thailand, and Seoul a week before that. I see it, and I see these companies. And one thing about Silicon Valley, it's a port to the rest of the world. It's where people come and go. More than half the money in the world is located here. It's like fishing, right? You go where the fish are, and it's interesting. And and then there's this colloquialism here because these people get together a lot. You hear what's happening in the market. Like, we were talking about multi agent large language models 4 years ago. and
Yeah.
the change. It's amazing. So, um, how do you think, in 5 years, what will hiring look like that would surprise people today?
I would say that it would not take five years, even less, to achieve like on its top. But I think the recruiter will be someone who just is telling what type of person they want, and they just make final decision, and everything is done by agents. Even first time interview, we are working right now on it. First time interview, first time screening, talking, exchanging the information. It's not that important thing, um, and hiring would take only a couple of days, 3 4 5, and that's it. Now it
Yeah,
takes roughly 2 weeks. It would take 2 months before us, but yeah, we will make it into 2 3 days.
no, that's great. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the show. If you want to stay on afterwards and want to speak a little bit, that's great. So,
Sure.
closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you?
Sorry, I couldn't get the question.
Closing thoughts. What are your closing thoughts and how do people reach you? LinkedIn,
Okay.
email, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they can just find me on the LinkedIn and contact directly and send message. And final thought would be that it's also our responsibility as a founders to make this world better. Make no matter it's hiring or it's CRM platform or whatever, we should use the technology that someone created and did very perfect job. And it's the best time right now to do something great. So let's do it.
No, that's super. And how do people get a hold of you?
Um, just send LinkedIn, send message. Iako Jikia is my name in the LinkedIn, and just find me.
Okay, Yako. Thanks you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. And thanks to all of
Thank
you
you.
joining one more time. GST presents Top Global Startups. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Thank you, and thanks, everybody.